says 12 steps, tradition from AA experience has taught us. AA before the whole public, the promoter instruct us might be our undoing. Even if one publicly got drunk or was lured into using AA name for its own purpose, the damage might be irreplaceable. At this altitude, press, radio, films, television, and anomaly, 100% anomaly, such as paradox, vortex, was the only possible answer. Here, principles would have to come before personalities without expectation. These experiences have taught us that the anomaly is real humanity at work, is all-pervading spiritual quality which today keynotes AA life everywhere. Moved by the spirit of an anomaly. Anomaly is like a vortex, a paradox. But they said it's in the spirit of humanity too. AA members, both amongst fellow alcoholics and before the general public, as we lay aside their very human aspirations, we believe each of us takes part in the weaving of a protective mantle which covers our whole society and under which we may grow and work in unity. We are sure that humanity expressed by an anomaly is the greatest safeguard that Alcohol Anonymous can ever have. Step 1. We admit we are powerless over alcohol and our lives have become unmanageable. Who cares to admit complete defeat? Administration of powerlessness is the first step in liberation. Relations of humanity to sobriety, mental obsession plus physical allergy. Why must every AA hit rock bottom? They always hit bottom. Step 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity instead of crazy pills. What can we believe in? AA does not demand belief. 12 steps are only suggestions. Importance of an open mind. Various of ways to faith. Substitution of AA such as a higher power. Plight of disillusion. Roadblocks of indifferences and prejudice. Lost faith found in AA. Problems of intellectual self-sufficiencies. Positive thinking, self-righteousness. Defines outstanding characteristics of alcohol and alcoholics. Step 2 is a rally point to sanity, a right relationship to God. Step 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Step 3 is like an opening of a locked door. How shall we let God into our lives? Willingness is the key. Dependency as a means to independence. Danger of self-sufficiency. Turn our will over to a higher power. Misuse of willpower. Sustain and personal exploitation necessary to conform to God's will. Step 4. Make a searching, fearless moral inventory of ourselves. How instinct can exceed their power function. Step 4 is an effort to discover our liabilities, basic problem of extremes, and instant drives. Misguided moral inventory can result in guilt, gratitude, or blaming others. Assets can be noted with liabilities. Self-justification is a dangerous willingness to take inventory, brings light into new confidence. Step 4 is beginning of a lifetime practice. Common symptoms of emotional insecurities are worries, anger, self-pity, depression, or a crazy idea. Inventory reviews relationships, importances of thoughtfulness and thoughtness. Step 5. Admit it to God and to ourselves and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 12 steps deflate ego. Step 5 is difficult but necessary to sobriety and peace of mind. Confession is an ancient discipline without fearless administration of defeat. Few could stay sober. What do we receive from step 5? Beginning of true kinship with man and God. Lost sense of isolation, receive forgiveness and give forgiveness. Learn humanity, gain honesty, and realms about ourselves. Realness. Necessary to complete honesty. Danger of radiation. How to close the door. How to choose the person in whom we confide. Results are tranquilizing, consensuous, and conscious of God. Oneness with God and man prepares us for the following steps. Step 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all defects of character. Step 6. Necessary to spiritual growth, the beginning of a lifetime job. Recognition of differences between striving for an objective and perfection. Why we must keep trying. Being ready is all important. Necessary of taking action. Delay is dangerous. Rebellions may be fatal. Point at which we abandon a limited objective and move forward to God's will for us. Step 7. Humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. What is humanity? Humbly ask God to remove our shortcomings. Humbly ask God to remove our shortcomings. Step 7. What is humanity? What can it mean to us? The avenue, true freedom of the human spirit, necessary aids, survival, value of ego, purging of punishment, failure, misery, transformed by humanity, strength from weakness, pain is administration, price to new life, self-centered fear, achieve, activer of defeats. Step 7 is change in attitude of the mood and the emotion, which permits us to move out of ourselves toward God. Step 8. Made a list of all persons we have harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. This and the next 2 steps are concerned with personal relationships. Learn to live with others as a fascinating adventure. Obstacles, recludence to forgive, non-administration of wrongs to others, purposeful forgetting, necessary exhausting surveys of past, deepening insight results from thoughtfulness, kinds of harm done to others, avoiding extreme judgment, only God can judge, taking the objective view. Step 8 is the beginning of the end of isolation. Step 9. Made direct amends to such people whoever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. A tranquil mind is just requisite for good judgment, like making a good judgment call when you're at work or something, or making a decision. That's what they're talking about, with the power to carry that out. Good timing is important in making amends, which is courage. Prudence means taking calculated chances. Amends begins when we join AA. Peace of mind cannot be bought at the expense of others. Need for discretion, to be discreet. Readiness to take consequences of our past and take responsibility for well-being of others is spirit of step 9. Step 10. Continue to take personal inventory when we were wrong, properly admit it. Can we stay sober and keep emotional balance under all conditions? Self-searching becomes a regular habit. Admit, accept, and patiently correct defects. Emotional hangover when past is settled with. Present changes can be met. Varieties of inventory, anger, resentment, jealousy, envy, self-pity, hurt, pride, all lead to the bottom of rock bottom. Self-restraint versus subjective insurance against big shotism. Let's look at the credits as well as the debts. An examination of motives. Step 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood God. Praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. Meditation and prayer, main channels to a higher power. Connection between self-examination and meditation and prayer. An unshakable foundation for life. How shall we meditate? Meditation has no boundary, an individual adventure. First result in emotional balance. What about prayer? Daily petitions for understanding of God's will and grace to carry that out. Actual results of prayer are beyond question. Rewards of meditation and prayer. Step 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and practice all these principles in all of our affairs. Joy of living is the theme of the 12 steps. This was a tradition. Actions, its keyword from the Bible, that would be Acts 4:20. Proverbs, in God we trust. Given, and 10:13 is Romans. Don't pay evil with evil. Given that as to no reward, love that has no price tag. What is spiritual awakening? A new state of consciousness that's being received as a free gift. Readiness to receive gift lies in the practice of 12 steps. It means it's within. Rewards of helping other alcoholics. Kinds of 12-step work. Problem of 12-step work. What about the practice of these principles in all of our affairs? Loyalty, pain, calamity, turn to good use by practice of steps. Difficulties of practice, 2-stepping, switch to 12-stepping, showing faith. Growing spiritually is the answer to our problems, placing spiritual growth first. Domination over dependency, putting our lives on a give and take basis. Dependence upon God's necessary to recovery of alcoholics. Practicing these principles in our affairs, domestic relationships, and AA outlook upon material matters changes, so do the feelings, which is translation of attitude and emotion. About personal importances, instant restores to true purpose. Understanding is the key to the right attitude of emotion and feelings, and the right action to key in to good living. Our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity. And it says, for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God, as God may express in our group's conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. The only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. Each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting our groups or AA as a whole. Each group has but one primary purpose: to carry its message to alcoholics who still suffers. The AA group ought to never endorse, finance, or lend the AA name to any related faculty or outside enterprise, lest problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. Every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributors. Alcohol Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our services centers may employ special workers. AA as such ought to never be organized, but we may credit services boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. Alcohol Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the AA name ought to never be drawn into public controversy. Our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of our traditions, never reminding us to place principles before personalities. That's the long form.